With Jeremy Jones of the Greensboro adult baseball team, the Greensboro Reds. Jeremy, what kind of season has it been for you so far since you've been working with A&T and the Reds?
Well, as about today's definitely been a hot one, but other than that, we've been having a good season so far, man. We've had a lot of good competition. Played the Greensboro Bulldogs a couple times, and does a good job of scheduling some good teams coming here, some good competition.
And going back to some other teams you've played for, A&T was telling you you've been in a few other leagues too the past couple of years.
Oh yes, so Frontier League up in Michigan. I played there the past 2 summers. My rookie season was cut a little short. I had a knee injury about 20 games into the season, so I had a knee surgery that sort of sidelined me there. But going back there last season, I had a good season. Made the All-Star team, and my team was basically first in the East Division for the whole season, except for maybe the last month or so. We got a little tired due to the heat and everything, and so it fell apart. But it was a great experience, though. Loved it up there.
How long do you think it'll be before you make it back maybe to the professional baseball level? Maybe try to keep your ladder climbing toward the major leagues. That's still a goal of yours.
Oh, yeah, yes, sir. Actually, I just took this year off just to continue my grad school. I've only got about a semester left for that, so I told my parents I was definitely going to get that done. And actually, I got a couple opportunities in hand, too, maybe with A&T coming on as a coach there.
Who's going to be the new coach at A&T? We still don't know that.
I'm thinking the assistant coach, Austin Love. He was actually a senior. I played there as a freshman year. Real good guy. So I think he's definitely in the running. So if I had to choose that, that'd be my bet right there.
So it could well be a very young A&T coaching staff.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that wouldn't be a bad thing to mix it up a little bit.
If somebody kept that A&T wheel moving, even though the coaching changes occur with Coach Shoemate stepping down, is the wheel still moving? They're still recruiting?
Oh, yeah,
still getting ready for next year?
Yeah, I actually ran into Austin this morning at the gym when I rushed from Wendover, and he's been going out getting his stuff done, finding some pitches and everything. So this is definitely a time of year to find all the good arms you can. But he's been doing a good job keeping the program up.
How well did A&T prepare you for the next level?
Pretty well. I mean, like I said, ever since I've been there, we had a great schedule. Keith Shoemate did a good job. I mean, I remember played Carolina when they ranked #1 in the country. We've always had a couple games with NC State, ECU. So we played the top-notch teams in North Carolina. It was just a great experience, and gave a lot of them a run for their money too. So we had a good squad that year.
And it seems like, too, from A&T, it's a chance to make it to the next level. You look at guys like Estelin Paulino, exactly. You look at Nick Rogers, you look at Jason Battle had a look, Charlie Gamble.
Yes,
you played with a lot of those guys, right?
Oh, yeah. I was actually Charlie's roommate for 3 years, and C.J. Beatty, he got picked up by the Cardinals a couple years back, and Xavier Macklin this year in the 12th round, I believe. So every year we have at least a couple guys to go, so it's good. They've done a good job of getting some of the best talent around North Carolina, some of the local areas.
What do you think, Charlie Gamble? What was the gap he was missing, maybe to take him up to the next and keep him there? He seemed like he was glad to get there, but maybe like he didn't have the glue where he really wanted to pursue it. Maybe like a guy like yourself, you seem to maybe have that inside. You still want to get there and land and stay. Whereas Charlie, he was pretty satisfied when he got there, but he didn't mind coming back home and kind of going back to the family life.
Exactly. Like I said, he's fallen into place with that. I know him and Jessica's had a little baby boy within the past year. He's always been sort of a hometown guy with his dad coaching at Southern and everything too. So I know he's ecstatic, being drafted and everything. But it's a tough hassle. A lot of guys don't know that. A lot of traveling on the bus, hotels. It's definitely it's hard also.
Do you think, again, like A&T got you guys ready for that, or was anything lacking with A&T? I know the program sometimes kind of stays under the radar when you're not playing when you're playing the big teams like Carolina and State, Virginia Tech, guys like that. You guys are within the radar range. Otherwise, you guys kind of stay under the radar. Do you think A&T? Is there anything lacking there they need to do to try to get that program up to a bigger level where they can really get more recognition? And are they going to be able to recruit at A&T on a continual basis, because there's been some changes in the way they can recruit over the past couple of years?
Definitely. I'd love for the budget to go up a little bit. So I know he's done a lot of things. It's basically him and Coach Love. I know in college baseball it's hard to do everything with just two guys doing everything. So I'd love for their budget to increase a little bit, put a little bit more focus on baseball, because outside of Bethune, who's won our conference a lot, North Carolina's been A&T's been right in the running every year for that championship bid. And I'd love for him to dump a little bit more money into there to help out definitely the out-of-state scholarships. So ever since I was there, we maybe had 1 or 2 out-of-state guys, and everybody knows you got to be able to get out and travel to get that best talent around the country.
What about, I mean, we're talking a lot about your work with the adult baseball league now, but you seem to have a pretty good insight on what else is going on around here as far as college goes. It seems like a place like GTCC, have they found a way to maybe be another option for players that might have looked at A&T, or some guys now looking at GTCC? I know some guys are looking at GTCC because they have to. They go off to a college and maybe don't make it quite as well there as they wanted to. Now they're coming back to GTCC. But what about them as a new option here locally?
I know they have a couple of coaching changes and everything like that, but it's definitely on the up and up program. Like you said, a lot of kids that either go to a 4-year university or in college, whether it be grade work or something like that, sort of knocks them backwards. But you know, like scouts have always told me, and like I've always said to everybody else, I mean, if you can play, you can play. They'll come find you. So necessarily being at a smaller school doesn't really necessarily hurt you. As long as you do what you're supposed to do, put up numbers, and get the job done on the diamond and in the classroom as well, you should be all right. You should be able to succeed.
Jeremy Jones with us from the Greensboro Adult Baseball League with the Greensboro Reds. And take us back to high school, how you got into baseball and how you were able to go from your high school. Where was it and how did you end up at A&T?
Well, actually, I went to Terry Severn in Fayetteville, North Carolina. My dad was probably the biggest influence I had. He played baseball his whole life, and just basically every Saturday, I remember us going out to fields and we'd stay out there for hours, man. Get up at 8, and just stay out there to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, just hitting, throwing, running, doing everything.
So when the other guys were out playing basketball, maybe football, you guys are focusing on baseball.
Oh yeah, I mean I played football, basketball, and baseball in high school as well. But I definitely my senior year in high school is really when I took off and just dropped every other sport and I focused on baseball that whole year. I was actually able to make the East-West games and state games, and I went on to get MVP there. And that sort of put me on the radar for a lot of the colleges and pro scouts and everything like that. So I really started to take baseball seriously. I fell in love with it. It's an excellent game.
So other schools were looking at you, but it became A&T. What was the difference? What had you and led you to choose A&T?
After sitting down with Coach Shoemate, just one phrase telling me that I'll be able to come in as a freshman and start and play every day. I mean, a lot of other schools could promise partial scholarships and the possibility to play, but I just needed the coach to tell me, look, you can come in as a freshman, a true freshman, come in and start and play and help the program out immediately, and that's all it took for me to go to A&T, and the rest is history.
Jeremy Jones with us with the Greensboro Adult Baseball League with the Greensboro Reds. How quick was it before Coach Shoemate kind of got on the recruiting trail and started recruiting you when you were in high school?
Let me see. He saw me actually as a freshman in high school at a little local workout at J.P. Riddle Stadium. He saw me swinging from the left side. He really just stayed with me throughout the years, kept contact with me over the summers during Legion Ball, and actually played with the Kernersville Bulldogs, Coach Arms, Dale Arms.
So you were traveling down there and coming up here and playing.
Oh yeah,
so. Wow.
It was just getting around and playing. So that's why I don't hate days like this. We're just playing doubleheaders in the heat. I've been doing that forever. But he stayed well in contact with me. Made a little bond with my parents as well, and he's just a really good guy, down to earth guy. I mean, he just stayed in contact the whole time, and actually came to the East-West games and saw me play. And after that, I fell in love with it. And before my actual season was over, I told him I was going to commit to A&T and come there and help his program out.
And how did you get recruited and get caught up in the big whirlwind with the Greensboro Reds? How'd you end up with this team?
I was actually, me and a couple of buddies were playing out at Smith High School, just going out there just on Saturdays like I used to do back home, just running, throwing, and hitting. And Enad was out there with a buddy, he was tossing, and he came up to me and one of my teammates, Darius Sawyer and Wesley Lewis and Joel Battle, and just asked if we'd be interested in playing on his team. And we were like, why not? It's baseball, we love it, it's something to do, stay in shape and everything. And we got hooked on ever since then. He's been a real good guy to us, and he's definitely doing wonders for the league and everything. He knows a lot of connections, and he does, loves the game. Definitely loves the game. I support him for that.
And you definitely see this league growing and getting bigger. It seems like there's a lot of interest in it this summer. It may be able to grow even more as you go toward next year.
Definitely. There's a lot of local college talent. If they don't want to necessarily travel or don't really get hooked on with the traveling squad, when we've got easily 40 or 50 games here, when we play at least 4 or 5 times a week, maybe. Good competition, get a chance for some of the younger guys to get used to the wooden bat and everything too. So it's a great league, actually a real good league.
Did you ever get caught up in that Coastal Plain League? Did you play any with those guys coming out of college?
Actually, the season I got drafted, 2006, I played a little bit with them after I broke my hamate bone the first game of the season, so I was sidelined the whole year that year. And toward the tailwind after getting drafted, trying to get back in shape. I played with them a little bit, but I ended up just taking the rest of the summer off just to get back in shape and heal my hand up. Coach Handelman was down there in Fayetteville. I was actually home the whole summer that year, so I went out and played a couple of games with him. But I just decided, as far as health, medical reasons, just to stay out and just make sure I got myself back in shape for the next following season.
And do you play on the rest of the year with the Greensboro Reds? Do you see yourself maybe landing with another team? Get any phone calls occasionally, in contact with people? Maybe you might move on even before this season ends here?
Well, I've talked to a couple of people about overseas ball, and that might be more of an option for next season instead of this season. Like I said, I want to finish up my grad school season and just, take a year off just to get away and get my mind clear from everything. And I might, dabble back into that next year, definitely.
Where are you doing your grad school work at again, at A&T?
It's actually online because I didn't know what was going to happen with baseball, so I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff online and, just writing papers all the time, sports performance psychology. So that's what I'm getting my grad degree in.
What do you see the African American in baseball as far as the future? I know a lot more teams are getting a little bit more involved in the neighborhoods and communities. Teams like, Ray Crawford, I'm sure about Mr. Crawford over the years, and Ray Jr. and all those guys, the job they've done down at Dudley. And a lot of people have done a good job down toward Dudley, Mr. Allen and others down that way, and many others around. But where do you see it growing? How do you see it improving?
I definitely applaud them. I'd love for it to get more in the inner cities, like I said, more opportunities. But everybody knows baseball is definitely an expensive sport. Buying bats, gloves, and the cleats and everything. I'd love to see more of them get on the radar, especially as far as scouting. Cause I know a lot of scouts sort of flock to some of these ACC schools and all that. But there's a lot of good, local talent around here as far as African American kids. I mean, I've ran into a bunch of them, and all we need is just, all we've ever asked for is just an opportunity to play. And once we got that, just take it and run with it, do whatever you can with it.
What would you tell the aspiring adult league baseball player about joining this league? What would you tell them?
I mean, it's good, it's fun, it's competitive. It's not probably what you think. It's sort of just the old man, coming out drinking beer and everything like that. It's definitely not an old man softball league. It's definitely competitive. These guys are still in shape. I mean, throwing the ball well off the mound. I mean, it's good. It's just extremely competitive, far past what they might think.
Well, Jeremy, good luck to you in the games here tonight and today, and also good luck with your graduate courses online. Give us a call and you get that complete. Maybe we'll do a postgraduate interview.
Oh, yeah, sounds good. Thank you.